Good morning and welcome in, everyone. Before we get into this morning's update, I want to go over a quick overview of what I see transpiring so far in the not just crypto markets but across the board, as we've had some upward volatility, which we were talking about pretty particular in the live, the scenario where we can avoid a further drop down and what we would need to do earlier in the week. I talked about my master plan for DGB last night, and it was nice to see the amount of people that showed up. Unfortunately, YouTube did cut me off after I got a little bit into a deeper dive, but we got 50 minutes worth, so it was a beautiful thing. We did a couple lives yesterday, and now today we've started around in upward volatility, which is nice to see. Bitcoin's up just over 1%, pushing that $80,000 level. We've had a nice reversal on gold, up 35 bucks. So commodity stocks look like they're going to get a little bit of volatility to the upside. You've got First Majestic is up about 6.6% in pre-market. Fortuna's up 4%. So we'll see the trend that we push here. It's possible that we are back testing for another drop down in mining stocks, but at least for now, we'll take the relief. Cryptocurrency is trying to push out of this bearish moment. XRP, one of the biggest things we looked at was trying to make sure that we hold, especially when it back tested here, to hold this $1, and we can look at it in real time where it actually held. But that $1.80, let's see, 85 cents roughly, which we were able to hold last night. I put this over here just in case it kind of straddled out until the 17th of April roughly, or the middle of April, about 7 to 8 days from now. But this looks like a nice reversal here. If we continue to stay hot and not fall below that $1.85, $1.83, I'd say $1.80. We'll just say $1.83 right now. As long as we hold that, we look like we get a little bit of steam here. And momentum from this point of view, if we could gain momentum, could push us up. First area is going to be right around that $2 mark, because this is technically, we're trying to push up to see if this is a resistance or support. And then if it is acting as a resistance, then it'll end up layering back down. You might see something like this back down to the $1.50, $1.47 area. But if we can turn this around and turn our fade around, this is where we could actually get a little spicy here. So we're looking today to break above that, let's just say the $2 level to be safe. Looking to break above $2 and then use it as a support structure. And that's how we could allow ourselves to get volatile to the upside. And we've had this drawn out, and now that it's come down and at least tapped that support again to validate this pattern, now we have that uptrend that it was starting inside the pattern that now becomes resistance. And now until you get back on top of that, you would remain in a slightly bearish state, even though we're trying as we speak to push out of this. So that's what I am looking at with XRP. That's what we're going to have to do to get out of this range. I want to do a quick intro, and then we'll look at Bitcoin, and we'll wrap this, tie it up. So good morning, 8:02 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Tuesday, April 8th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. So we can see a little bit of upward volatility, which is nice to see. Our alt tokens are up. XRP's up. Bitcoin's bounced off the lower support. We had to target it right around 74,000, somewhere around this range, 74K. It bounced off of the support structure right now. We still have a death cross in the daily, so we still have to figure that out. And we would need to push over 84,467 to push out of this range, start using that as support, and then we could flip this death cross. But anything short of that, we could continue to consolidate in this descending structure. And then if it were to fall below that 74K area, then it opens up the door to that 64,196, because that would in fact be a back test, which we've already had a small back test of this, so you don't necessarily need it. But if it did come down, it'd be a very serious back test of that cup and handle breakout. And that would be around 64K, but we don't need to go there. The bottom line is, if we can hold 74, we can stop that $10,000 drop. And maybe because we've come down from about 108,000, Bitcoin had a better than 30% drop. So there is a chance there that could have been the consolidation. We've got the U.S. waking up at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6:30. And normally we'll see some kind of weird volatility, but overnight we had a nice consolidation. So now this morning, this could be like a turnaround Tuesday style thing, and we could actually have upward volatility, which we started out with this morning. Now we need to see if we can get a severe follow through here. If we get a follow through here, this is where it could get really, really, looking real good in our favor here. At least in the short term narrative. We have DGB up 3.75%. Looking okay right now. We're still looking for this breach out of here. So far, so good. It's done exactly what we want. A nice inverse head and shoulders we talked about yesterday. We talked about the scenarios. And I think it is actually set up pretty nicely for that inverse head and shoulders. And we'll see if this wraps around now. If it does, eventually we're going to break out of this area. Because I could argue that there's a left shoulder, head, right shoulder here that formed another inverse head and shoulders on the inverse right arm. Or inverse right shoulder. And I don't know. It looks like it could bounce out of here. But we're in a bullish FVG, which is good. I know Nick was talking about that a lot yesterday. So that's a good thing. So we're using it as support right now. And the way it's built up, eventually this is going to have a very, very volatile spike. It's just from where. And if we look at it for real, this is what, the best way to look at this, in my opinion. So very volatile. And as long as we can continue this momentum, we're not going to want to come back down below like that 009. Just for a few reasons, how we had little crosses there, dot crosses that we've invalidated now. Now we're going to try to pull this into a upward volatility moment. We had a nice Gartley reversal yesterday, and we'll see if this can pan out. It looks like we should get some bullish momentum, but you can never quite tell on these, on these very volatile trading weeks. So, but that's what I'm looking at. I'm feeling more bullish, like I said yesterday, and I talked about my plan, and it's a pretty direct plan. I know some of you know my holdings with DGB is pretty large, nearing 1.7 million, but I do have a master plan here, and I do believe in DigiByte, so we'll see what happens. XLM's up 1.38%. It too is trying to reverse back up. Came down to that lower support structure, which, if you look at not the orange line that I drew up, but actually the yellow line that's in there, that was a nice structure that was built. And then over the top, you've got another one. But this is a nice way to look at it, because we're going to have to get over this orange line eventually to break out of the structure. So that's what it looks like we're built in, as a cup and handle for XLM. So we're just going to have to watch to see if this actually plays out. Nice big W was there. But the cup and handle, we have to see if this will eventually play out. It's built a nice handle. And our only problem here is we have that dot cross that we have to, invalidate. And that would mean we'd have to come above 27 cents and start pushing out towards that 43. It's not going to always go way up there. But I'm going to get rid of some of these micro levels. That line right there at 43 is because that's the cup setup. And then if you break out, that would be the depth of the cup moving up. And then you could get up to about 80 cents. Unless we break down. So we do have opportunity here. Lots of opportunity. It's just going to take a lot of testicular fortitude here in this kind of a market. So that's basically what I'm seeing. XRP market cap's up 3.15% this morning, sitting at 113.81 billion. We've come back above the 200, which is good, but now we're going to have to invalidate this potential dot cross that's trying to line up as we've come through the 50 and the 100. So now we're going to have to push past 121 billion and start to break past towards that pivot point of 129.29 billion and start rectifying this if we don't want more downward volatility. XRP Bitcoin pairing is stuck in the exact same scenario. We need to invalidate these bearish crosses. The good thing is we held the 200. Otherwise, if we get rejected and break down, then you could find yourselves all the way back down at the 804 sat level, and that could make some serious volatility there. So that's where we're sitting this morning. That's what I'm seeing this morning. Make sure to hit that like button so that YouTube will recommend this update. Pay attention to Bitcoin as it's rose over 80K. You grabbed a snack. Over 80K. And XRP right now is up about 3.5% to $1.96. So we'll watch to see if we get this upward volatility. And for Bitcoin, if it can maintain, we need to push over this 84,470 roughly to try to invalidate this dot cross. We do have a bullish reversal on the daily, it looks like. So we could get some upward volatility, but I'll keep everybody updated. I got to go. I'm running up against it. I got to get my son to school at 8:20. We got to leave here. So I only got about 10 minutes. He's got therapy this afternoon after school, so I'll do some kind of short while I'm at his therapy. And then tonight around 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to do our normal live. Well, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll do our live. We'll touch base. We'll get this all set up in a functional direction. And then until then, if you're looking to trade, make sure you look in the video description below and/or pinned comments. Or you look at my homepage on YouTube. I encourage you to use BITUNIX, lowest spot and leverage trading fees, lowest maker taker if you're leverage or spot. And they have no KYC or VPN worldwide. XRP in the USA, including many other things. And I just encourage you because you can swing trade, do everything you want without paying the extraordinary fees. But that's what I got. You can send a donation, Cash App, PayPal, Venmo. You can trade other ways. You can join Tom's Army if you really want to show support or send a YouTube super chat. But really what would help me this morning is hitting that like button. I appreciate the 32,500 plus subscribers we have this morning, and share this far and wide on social media. Bless you all.